Hi, my name is Jennifer. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm kicking off a reading vlog of booktuber recommendations. So how well do these booktubers know me? These booktubers have not agreed to take part in this video, but I'm pretty sure they won't mind. So I have 3 books here that have kind of been recommended to me. One was a very definite recommendation. The other 2, well, I'll explain when we get there. So I'm going to run through the 3 books that I'm going to be reading for this vlog and who recommended them to me. And then we'll see how well these booktubers know my taste. First up is Confessions of the Fox by Jordy Rosenberg. So this was recommended to me by Anna-Marie from the channel Actual Spinster. I will obviously link all these channels down below. They're all brilliant. Go and check them out if you don't already follow them. So Anna-Marie every so often does a recommendations video whereby in advance you can tell Anna-Marie she's done them on like your favourite colour or your favourite fruit, and then like a favourite book you've read recently and what type of recommendation you're looking for, and then Anna-Marie will recommend you a book. And this is one that was recommended to me some time ago and I really wanted to read it, but my local library didn't have a copy, which is why I haven't picked it up till now, because one of the other libraries I am now a member of does have a copy. So I am very excited for this. I can definitely see why this was recommended to me. I will tell you what it's about. It is historical fiction. I mean, the little like quote at the top calls it a mind-bending romp awash in sex, crime and revolution. So this is about a scholar called Dr. Voth who discovers a long-lost manuscript. It is historical fiction. I'm not entirely sure. Is it set in Victorian times? I don't know. Do I know? I don't know. It doesn't say. 18th century London, it does say. Is that pre-Victorian? I don't know. So yes, Dr. Voth discovers a long-lost manuscript, and this manuscript is a sexy, salty expose of these 2 thieves called Jack Shepherd and Edward Bess. So these 2 are from 18th century London. I'm not entirely sure what time frame Dr. Voth is in. So this doctor discovers this manuscript, and then it says, is this an authentic autobiography or is it a hoax? And Dr. Voth is drawn deeper into Jack and Bess's underworld, and their fates are intertwined. So it does sound like quite a me book. It's given me a little bit, oh my god, there's like a lot of footnotes. Like look at those footnotes. I'm not really a fan of footnotes, but hey, it's giving me a little bit Sarah Waters vibes. So I do think this could be one that I really, really like. The next one, and I'm not sure what order I'm actually going to pick these up in, I'll see what I feel like. The next one was kind of a recommendation from my good friend Charlie, from Charlie Brooks Reads. Is that Charlie's channel name? And this book is Clear by Carys Davies. So this is a book that had already been on my radar. It was on my library holds shelf already, on my like frozen hold shelf, where I put a load of library books I'm interested in, but I just thaw the hold when I'm ready for some more library books to come into my life. So it was one I was definitely planning on getting to at some point. And I've only heard good things about this. But when Charlie started reading this, she messaged me to ask me if I picked it up yet, because she thought it had the potential to be quite a me book. So let's say what it's about, and then I'll tell you why she thought it might be a me book. So this is set in 1843 on a small island off the coast of Scotland, and a man is unconscious on the beach. He like washes up on the beach, and he is an impoverished church minister who has been sent to evict Ivor, who is the sole occupant of the island. So he's been sent to evict Ivor and take the island over into grazing land for sheep. So unaware of the reasons why the stranger has turns up on the island, Ivor takes in this man and sort of like looks after him, and it's about the bond that forms between them. So this, as I understand it, is quite a slow-paced, I think quite an understated book. And that is not normally my kind of thing, because I normally am all about the plot. But occasionally, and this is what Charlie said in her message to me, occasionally I do really like a quiet novel, and the one that Charlie mentioned as a comparison to this was Falling Animals by Sheila Armstrong, which was one of my favourite books when I read it a couple of years ago. That was a very sort of slow-paced, understated read. So for those reasons, Charlie thought that this felt like quite a me book, and I think she could be right. I'd be surprised if I didn't like this, because I haven't heard anyone say they dislike it, and everyone seems to really love it. So we will see how much I like it. And then the final book was kind of recommended to me by the wonderful Jen the librarian. So Jen was reading this book, was considering DNFing, sent me a message asking me if I had read it, to see if I could like inform Jen's decision either way, whether to carry on or DNF. I mean, my general advice to anyone, if you're in that position, is just DNF it. Whatever the book, if you want to DNF it, just DNF it. It's usually the right decision. But anyway, so Jen messaged me. I had not read the book, but then Jen said, I think, that she thought it had massive Jennifer vibes. So I looked it up, and I agree, it does. It has the potential to have massive Jennifer vibes. And that book is Carrion by Heather Parry. So I have not read from Heather Parry before. Another book by Heather Parry has been on my radar for a couple of years now, which is Orpheus Builds a Girl. And I've just not got my hands on it yet from the library. That's the only reason I've not picked it up yet. But Carrion sounds excellent. The quotes on the front, we have a quote from Callie-Anne Bradley, a true gothic gem. I do love my gothicness. And Julia Armfield, who I love, says, masterful, I loved it. So this is about a mother and daughter, and the mother has locked her daughter into the attic of the family home, which is in Chelsea, because she doesn't like the fact that her daughter has become engaged to a much older, penniless solicitor who's going to drag the family name into disrepute. So she's locked her daughter into the attic, as you do. And in the attic, the daughter has a sewing machine, a copy of Mrs. Beaton's book of household management, and there is a carrion who is nesting in the rafters. So I think, from looking at the sort of quotes and stuff, Sarah Waters gets a mention. A punk Sarah Waters. That sounds very cool. So I'm guessing, from what I can tell, this might be a bit gruesome. There might be some body horror. I'm hoping for some weirdness, a lot of gothicness and mystery. And on paper, it definitely sounds like a very me book. So those are the 3 books I'm going to be reading for this vlog in some particular order. 1, a definite recommendation, and 2, kind of recommendations. So we will see as we go through what I think of these and how well those booktubers know my reading taste. I have now finished the first book of this vlog. So the first book I decided to pick up was Carrion by Heather Parry. So this is the one that Jen the librarian thought had massive Jennifer vibes. So I asked Jen how far she got into this book before DNFing, and she said maybe like a couple of chapters. So it's interesting to me that Jen didn't really read very much of this book before making the assessment that it seemed like a very me book. So anyway, I have now finished the book, and I can tell you that I completely agree. This has massive Jennifer vibes, so much so that I gave this 5 stars. To put that into context, this is only the 3rd 5-star I've had this year so far, apart from a couple of rereads. not only that, this has jumped into first position. This is my favourite book that I have read this year so far, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I loved it so much. It's absolutely not going to be for everyone, but oh my god, this is so for me. I think I got to about just under halfway, and by that point I was like, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a 5-star. Like, I am loving this. And the more I went on, the more and more I was like, this is amazing. So let me tell you what I think the massive Jennifer vibes are with this book. First of all, it is super gothic. It's weird. Like, a lot of the book, you are reading it like with kind of a look of like repulsion on your face. There is a lot of gross stuff. There's a lot of vomiting in this book. That's not necessarily something in isolation I am drawn to, but when you couple that sort of like grossness, body stuff with themes of bodily autonomy, sexual awakening, I just loved it. It's very over the top. There is nothing subtle about this book. It's very bold. It's outrageous. It's not going to be for everyone, but if it is for you, you will love it. It is so good. So this is about, and I can't remember the character's name. So we have Marguerite, who is has been locked in the attic of the family home by her mother, Cecile. So Marguerite is a young woman who has recently got engaged to someone called Mr. Lewis. And Cecile, her mother, decides that before she allows Marguerite to marry Mr. Lewis, Marguerite needs to learn about how to be like a good wife. So Cecile locks Marguerite in the attic, and leaves her there with just a few things. She's got like a rusty old sewing machine, and she's got some books. She's got novels of Victor Hugo, and she's got a copy of Miss Beaton's Book of Household Management, if that's what it's called. And so they live in on a road called Chain Row, if I've pronounced that correctly, which is on the banks of the River Thames. So it's set in, I would guess, sort of late Victorian period. I don't think the year is explicitly stated, but I think that's sort of the time period we're in. And so like you get all these descriptions of the Thames and like the stink and the sewage, and it's just really vile and gross. And so Marguerite is sort of trapped in this attic. She does have, I think, a younger brother and sister as well. She's trapped in this attic, and it's sort of like the roof is sort of fallen into disrepair a little bit, and there's like a little gap in the roof, and through it she can see this crow, this carrion crow, who is there and like builds a nest there, might lay some eggs there. And as time goes on, as Marguerite is left in this attic, her mother like brings her food occasionally, but she doesn't see anyone else. She has some correspondence with Mr. Lewis. They exchange letters, but we see Marguerite like imagining and dreaming of the life that she could have outside of her mother's hold, and she has these dreams of this person or thing who she calls Alouette, who sort of she dreams will sort of be the key to a better life for her. While she wants to marry Mr. Lewis, she sees Mr. Lewis as sort of being her way out, really, rather than her really sort of being in love with him or anything like that. So as the book goes on, it just gets increasingly strange and gross and bizarre. We do have themes around, as I said, like bodily autonomy and independence and hunger and sexuality. It's so good, and there are other aspects of it as well which I won't sort of go into, but just in terms of how this was plotted, there were other aspects as we got through the novel that I just thought was so well done. Like, this is such a me book, I can't believe it. It's just so good. It's so good. So some of the descriptions on the back I thought were really good. So Camilla Gradova, the author, describes it as being both mouth-watering and revolting, a heady, poisonous pudding of a book. And I completely agree. It's that sort of like, it's revoltingly compelling. It's like, it's beautiful, but it's disgusting at the same time. And someone else, Alice Slater, refers to Heather Parry as being like a punk Sarah Waters. And I do see the comparison in terms of some of the themes. There seems in here a lot around class as well, and sort of the class that Cecile's mother considers herself to be of, and how she wants to sort of raise her daughter in that way. So I can see sort of the comparisons with Sarah Waters there as well. This was just absolutely brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. I love it so much. I could happily reread this again right now. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So this vlog is getting off to a pretty strong start. So yeah, I'll speak to you once I've read something else. I've now finished the second book of this vlog, which was Clear by Carys Davies. Davies. So I kind of have mixed feelings about this one. This was one that Charlie Brooke reads, said that could be the kind of book that I sometimes really love. I occasionally really like a quiet, understated book. And I liked this. I haven't quite decided if it's a 3 or a 3.5 star, but I do have some mixed feelings about it. So this is about two men. A man is who lives on a remote Scottish island. When is it set? 1843. Ivor. So he lives a very quiet life on this remote Scottish island, like living off the land. And this other man called John is a church minister, and he's sent to the island to basically evict Ivor, and the land is going to be turned over to be used for grazing or something, for cattle, for sheep. But what happens at the start of the story, and this is like a little novella, what happens at the start is that Ivor finds John needing help, needing looking after, and so he takes him in. So this is before John has a chance to say why he's there on this island. Ivor takes him in, he looks after John, and then of course John increasingly struggles with having to come clean to Ivor as to why he's really on this island. So it is a quiet book, it's unstated. There's a lot in there about language, which I thought was interesting. So in terms of that, Ivor speaks like a different language to John, like it's a different dialect that he speaks. It's called, what is it called? It says in the back. Norn, I think, is the language that Ivor speaks. So that was kind of interesting. You see these two men trying to find different ways to communicate, and John slowly sort of learning some of the different words in Ivor's language, and how Ivor's language is very specific to the environment where he lives. And that was interesting to a point, but I think my overall feeling is I would have liked this to have been longer personally, because a lot of it felt like a little bit superficial. And clearly I'm an outlier in this, because a lot of people are giving this 5 stars and stuff. I'm not saying it's not a good book. And I felt like there were glimmers of interest and stuff, but it was just not quite enough for me. This is a book that really relies on the reader connecting to the main characters and believing in the connections between the characters within the book. And I felt like there wasn't really enough space for me to do that. There were aspects of the book that I thought were interesting. There was something about the ending, no spoilers, but that I thought was interesting. But then, I don't know if on reflection, it just feels a little bit... feels a little bit painting by numbers, if I'm being completely honest. Clearly this is just my opinion. Most people love this book. I just felt like I could see the author's hand a little bit too much. I could see the puppet strings moving a little bit too much, and nothing was really explored enough for me. It reminded me a little bit of Haven by Emma Donoghue, which is a full-length novel about 3 religious men on this remote island, I think. So yeah, it reminds me of that a little bit, and I just wanted a little bit more. I just wanted to invest in the characters a little bit more. I wanted some of the themes to be a bit more explored, because it just felt a little bit like, a little bit too surface level for me, if I'm being completely honest. I think I'm probably going to settle on a 3-star for it. I can totally see why Charlie thought this could have been a quiet book that I would really love, and I did like it. I definitely did like it. I didn't quite love it. But yeah, interesting. It's interesting how sort of almost universally popular this book is. I think it's won some sort of award recently. Mixed feelings. But overall I did like it. I have started the final book for this vlog. I'm up to page 120. But I will reserve my thoughts until I have finished it. But yes, this is proving to be quite an interesting reading vlog, I think. I have now finished Confessions of the Fox by Jordy Rosenberg. So, let me tell you about the book, then I'll tell you my rating, and then we can sum up this vlog and determine how successful or not it was. So Confessions of the Fox was the true recommendation in this video. This was recommended to me by Anna Marie from Actual Spinster. All these channels will be linked down below. Please do go check out Anna Marie's channel, because I really love watching her videos. She's so clever, she knows so much. She talks about books so very eloquently, and I feel like I always learn stuff when I watch her videos, and always have a bit of a laugh as well, because she's so lovely. And she reads books that I don't hear other people talk about. So it's a great place to hear about different books, basically, that other people aren't talking about. And saying that, Confessions of the Fox, I had never heard of until Anne-Marie mentioned it. It was published in, I think, 2018. And I can see why this was recommended to me, because obviously I really like queer historical fiction. I love Sarah Waters, and this is queer historical fiction. So what this is it's sort of a reimagining of the life of Jack Sheppard, who was in the 18th century a criminal, a thief, a bit of an outlaw. He would get captured and then sort of miraculously escape from prison and that sort of thing. So he, as I understand it, was a real life person, and his lover Bess as well. What the author's done here is reimagined their lives and their story through a queer lens, and a specifically trans lens. So in the book, Jack is a trans man, and he meets Bess, who is working as a prostitute, and their relationship develops. We follow their exploits. It's quite a pacey novel. It's a very explicit novel, and even on page 1, I'm not going to read it out, but when I read it, I was like, wow, that's a lot for page one. And it continues like that, really. So it is very explicit, but it's a really, really a beautiful book, actually, I think, in many ways, in the way that gender and sexuality is explored within Jack and Bess's relationship, sorry. It's very like moving, and then what we get is a really interesting narrative framing. So the idea is that there's this academic who works at a university called Dr. Voth, and this is in like current day, and he has come across this manuscript, which is like the story of Jack Sheppard, and it's told in a way that the story's never been told before. So Dr. Voth is sort of reading this manuscript, and he is interrogating this document for its veracity, and how much of it can be believed. And so what we get when we're reading the book is these footnotes that Dr. Voth has written as he is annotating this manuscript. So sometimes the footnote is just like as an explanation, and the language in here is just so it's just so luscious and brilliant. So we get sort of explanations of certain words. A lot of the words are used to describe either types of like thievery or words that were used to describe genitalia. So we get some like short little explanatory footnotes, but then we get these longer footnotes, and sometimes they take up like a whole couple of pages, and those footnotes are Dr. Voth talking to the reader, telling us his story. He is also a trans man. The author, I believe, is a trans man as well. So it's Dr. Voth talking to the reader, and some of those parts are quite funny. We hear from like his dates that he goes on, and we hear about the struggles that he's having at the university with the dean, I think it is, about his work and stuff. And those footnotes really help to enhance the whole reading experience. So I was a little bit nervous about the footnotes, because when I've read books with footnotes in the past, sometimes they can be a bit confusing. It can be difficult to know what bit you're meant to be reading at what point, and it like breaks up the story. It really does not in here. It's very, very clear at what point you read the footnote, and then you go back to the main text, and it flows really, really well. And it's such an interesting framing device in how it looks at transness and queerness within the historical context, and through the modern lens as well. It's so well done. It is also quite like descriptive, like not just in an explicit way, but there's a lot of like we talk in here as well in various ways. So it is like, it's like a bit grimy, but in a really great way. And it also looks at aspects of race as well, because in this sort of reimagining, Bess is of Asian heritage, and so that's something that as well is explored within the book. There's a lot about, because of the nature of Jack and Bess's sort of their place in society, if you like, where they find themselves. There's a lot around class and politics as well. I've not read anything quite like this before. The one comparison that maybe springs to mind a little bit is Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters, just in terms of the real sort of like, it's super plotty, and there is a lot of sex in there, and it can be quite sort of bawdy in parts as well. But I've not read anything quite like this before, and I loved it. case you couldn't tell. I knew this was going to be a 5-star from quite early on. And I cannot believe I've got 2 5-stars out of this video. I really was not expecting that at all. Does this nudge out Carrion as my number 1 of the year? I think it might do, but only just. These 2 are my favourite books that I've read this year, which is incredible. But I think Confessions of the Fox is one that I know I'm going to want a copy of. I'm going to reread this over and over again. I'm going to get more out of it on a reread. This book, it actually left me with a little tear in my eye as well, which does not happen that often, let me tell you. I loved it. Like, if you like queer historical fiction, if that sounds remotely interesting to you, please pick it up, because I honestly think it is incredible. And I don't know if it's just me who has never come across this book before. I can't believe I've never heard of this book before. I think it was like, what was it? It was a New Yorker Book of the Year, you know, so it's had praise, so it's, you know, maybe it's just passed me by, but you need to read this book because it's amazing. It's so good. I absolutely loved it. So that was, a brilliant recommendation from Anne-Marie. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, should we sum up this video? So I read 3 books, 2 of which were 5 stars. My favourite 2 books that I've read this year. Unbelievable, so happy with that. And I did really enjoy Clear by Carys Davies as well. That was, I think I settled on a 3-star for that one. But that was so interesting. Clearly, I just need to get Booktubers to tell me what to read, because that works out really well. So thank you so much to Jen, to Charlie and to Anne-Marie for unknowingly helping me in this video. Great recommendations all round. Please check out all of their channels. They're all amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know all your thoughts. If you've made it to the end of the video and you don't know what to comment, please leave me either a fox or a crow emoji. You think either would work. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Bye.